Hey everybody, this is Julie from Village Yoga. I'm working on a Saturday foundation class. We're going to be working with the foundation work of your glutes, working with the gluteus maximus, and but we're going to just start in a nice, comfortable child's pose. So if you have blocks, you might want to get some blocks. If you have a roller, you could use a roller instead of blocks for what we're going to be doing after a bit into our practice. And if you don't have blocks or a roller, don't worry about it. You can just you'll just use your mat. So let's get started. My name is Julie, and we're going to start in an active child's pose. So again, from active child's pose, either your knees could be together and you can just gently sit back your hips to your heels and work your hands forward and just bow down. Or you can also open your knees a little wider, just keep working into that place where you can find a sense of stillness and just kind of settle into your practice onto your mat, trying to let go of all that you have been doing prior to this moment, and just kind of feel into your body. Maybe take notice, like take inventory. Like, how does it feel? How are your shoulders? How are your abs? How are your hips? How are your knees? How are your feet and your hands, your wrists? And then without taking any more awareness into that inventory, just start to notice, where's my breath? Maybe find your breath and take a deep inhale in through the nose. And any tension in the body, let it go by making that ha sound. Again, 2 more, deep inhale. Exhale, ha. 1 more inhale. And exhale, let it go. Now breathing in and out through the nose only. Take a deep inhale for a count of 3, 2, 1, and exhale 3, 2, 1, and continue to breathe in and out of your nose, maybe lengthening your inhales and your exhales. And on the next inhale, just walk your hands to the right corner of your mat, the right side of your mat, or take your hands all the way off of your mat and just stretch a little deeper. Longer through that left hand, stretching the left side body. Take a full breath here. And then fingertips your hands, draw your hands back to center. Take a breath there. And work your hands over to the left side. Maybe all the way off your mat, and taking your right palm on your left, or just reaching it beyond your left hand, stretching through the right side body. Take a breath here. And slowly crawl your feet, your fingertips back to your center, stretch it out. So if you had your forearms down, maybe lift up your elbows, lift up your armpits, take your hands about shoulder distance apart, and let your chest work forward and down as you lead your chin down or your forehead down. And just set an intention for your practice. Releasing that intention, trusting that which you send out will come back to you in time and on time. And then gently walk your hands back towards your body as you come in upright. Your torso is upright now. And working your knees together, come to your hands and knees. So from your hands and knees, we're going to move through a few cow and cats. Again, don't just, drop your belly, lift your chin and round. Like, move very slowly, very deliberately, grounding down through your hands, your knees, your shins, the tops of the feet. And just move in very small movements at first. So pushing down through your hands, lead your chest through your shoulders. Take your chin, lift it, take your gaze up, lift your sit bones up, draw your belly in, and then exhale, round into the back, push away, so really push away from the earth, and then soften, drop down into the earth as you open your chest, and just begin to feel how your body acknowledges this movement. And how it begins to wake up and maybe send you information that you need regarding the health of your spine, the health of your breath, and then acting on what it's telling you. So maybe going a little deeper by bending your elbows, shifting, rolling through your hips, opening your heart, maybe allowing your mind to settle, taking your hips to your right heel, to your left heel. So if you've been very busy and active, move through cow, or having to worry about a lot of details, just try to let all of that go for this hour of your time. This is for you. This is your practice. Inhale cow, and exhale cat. And then coming back to neutral, work your hands forward slightly. And then taking your hips to your wrist, open through your chest, reach through your legs, push away from the ground, lift your heart up a little further forward and up, gaze up, relax to the buttocks, the glutes, relax. And then draw your front body back to your spine as you shift back to your heels one more time. Let's do that again, rolling slowly. Hips towards the wrist, chest through the shoulders, push away to lift up, extend through the legs. This time maybe contract the quads and engage your buttocks muscles, your glutes. And then keeping your glutes engaged, contracted, release them and then hips back to heels. Take a breath here. Coming back to your hands and knees, just cross at your ankles and sit back onto your seat. Now if you have blocks that you can put to the front of your mat, I'll show you what we're going to do. So we're going to lay down on our backs, bend our knees, and if you can stack either, if you have a roller, you could stack a roller. If you have something sturdy that's not going to move, either blocks or books, and you want to put your feet on top of those, that would be fine too. And if you don't have anything right now, just keep your feet grounded. You can also roll up the front of your mat and put your feet down on that roll. Or again, you can just keep your feet down on the mat. So we're going to inhale, you're going to lift your hips up and keep them lifted. So you only want to lift as high as your lower back, mid-back is lifted. And you want to think more about your hips and your pelvis moving towards your heels or towards your shins. And you're going to think about your chest moving closer towards your head. So you're actually lengthening, you're moving in two directions. Maybe thinking from your pelvis is drawing towards your knees, towards your heels, towards your your shins, your ankles, and then your sternum is leading away from you, so you're actually lengthening your spine. You should not be feeling this in your lower back. Now go ahead and contract your buttocks muscles. So a slight contraction, and we're going to stay lifted here for about a minute. So if you need to come down or you need to lower and then lift up again, doing so, but keep focusing on slight contraction in the buttocks. Notice how the contraction of the buttocks allows you to support and lift the hips. Think about your pelvis drawing towards your knees or in that direction. Think about your chest and your sternum drawing towards your face in that direction. And then start to feel a lightness that occurs here as you breathe deeply in and out through the nose. And then slowly lower the entire spine down. So don't roll down, just lower down. Take the entire spine down. And hopefully you do not need to draw your knees in because you did not take it into your lower back. So your lower back is not bothering you. And we're going to do this again. Again, if it's too much to have your feet lifted, or if you need to maybe shift a little bit closer to your block or the roll. If you have one of those long rolls, you would have your feet on that or on the mat. So again, inhale, lift yourself up. And you can just keep your hands down. You can also, if it helps, to bend your elbows and push down through your elbows to help support you here, you could do that. And think about pelvis towards the knees, sternum towards the base, lengthening through the spine and a slight contraction in your glutes. And then as you contract, maybe a slighter lift, as long as you're not taking it into your back. If you are, then just tuck your tail slightly and think about your hips drawing this direction as your chest moves the opposite. So you're splitting from the equator out. The equator being your navel. And just holding this for about a minute. Slight contraction. Breathing steady. Feeling it perhaps in your hamstrings as you contract your glutes. Lengthening through the quads as you contract the hamstrings and the glutes. And then slowly lower down. Good. Again, if you need to hug your knees, then do so, but we're trying to move in a way that we're not putting any strain on our back body. And one more time, we're going to lift up, contract your glutes, contract hamstrings to lengthen the quads. Lift your chest gently towards your chin, maybe your chin away, so you're lengthening in the neck. And holding this for another minute. So you're pushing down through your feet, which will then engage the hamstrings, which will then engage the gluteus medius, the sides of your buttocks, and engage the buttocks itself. And the breath will encourage the rib cage to come towards you as it expands. So there's a lot going on with very gentle movement here. Push down again through your feet. Lengthen the spine. And slowly lower it down. Good. And this time you can gently draw your knees in. And draw your knees in if you need to roll very slowly, side to side on your lower back. You might choose to do that. And then we're going to go take your knees to the side, use your hands to lift yourself up, and come back onto your mat, onto your hands and your knees. And you can move your blocks to the side. We may come back to them. So from here, you're on your hands and knees, and just tuck your toes under and lift yourself up into a downward facing dog. So you may notice that your heels are lifted up high, just soften through your knees. You may notice that your heels will gently, with time, reach back and towards the mat. And just take a few moments just to pedal out through the heels, bending alternate knees, just walking the dog. Keep walking the dog, just extending through the legs. And then when you're ready, lifting your right leg up. Lifting your right leg up. And trying to square and level your hips. So you don't want to lift like this right hip up higher than the left, but just keep both hip points squared, parallel to one another. And just reach through this heel. So you're reaching through the heel. And we're going to hold this for about a minute. So reach through the heel. Just kind of square your hips, draw your belly in, and lengthen. And breathe, gazing either towards your navel or to your back foot. And then lower your right foot down beside your left and just pedal out through the heels again. Just bending alternate knees. And then lifting your right leg up again, the same leg, and reach through the heel. Squaring the hip points, so squaring the hips, paralleling the hips to one another. And then maybe go ahead and lift the right hip up. So now reach through the heel. So you're lifting the right hip up as if you're going to stack your hips. And keep reaching through that heel as you breathe. About 5 breaths here, so deep inhales. Just breathe. Maybe engaging that right buttocks. Think about engaging the left buttocks. And then shifting your hips to be parallel, and drop the right foot down to the left and come to your knees and take a child's pose. Take a breath in child's pose. Just breathe deeply. And then coming back into your downward facing dog. And pressing down through the right heel, extend the left leg out, square the hips, reach through that left heel. So you don't want to lift it up too high. If you lift it too high, you're going to lose the squaring of the hips. Keep it lifted, let your neck lengthen. Just breathing deeply, engage both buttocks, so as you push down, even if your heel's lifted, you're still pushing down towards the ground, engaging your buttocks muscles, your glutes as you breathe. And then lower the left foot down beside the right. Take a few breaths here. Now draw your belly in, lift your left leg up, reach through the heel, try to engage your glutes, and maybe stack that left heel on the right, so your left hip on the right. So you're just opening up. So your pelvis is opening up towards the left side of your mat. And keep reaching through that left heel. Breathing deeply. Maybe let your head go, gaze through your left arm, or just gaze back towards the back of your mat and breathe. About 5 breaths. And then shifting your hips squared, and let's take the left foot to the right. And come and drop your knees down. Cross at your ankles. And just make your way back down onto your back. And just stretch out from your fingertips to your toes. Just reaching it nice and long. And just noticing how you feel. And then bending both knees, taking your hands down beside your hips, bending your knees, and letting your feet be slightly in front of your knees, and maybe your heels slightly in front of your knees. It's hard to tell when your heels are slightly in front of your knees without seeing yourself, but you don't want to, what I'm saying is you don't want to pull your heels way back towards your hips, because you get that knees extended beyond the foot. So you want to just kind of estimate that your heels are either under your knees or slightly forward of your knees, so that inhale, when you lift up, now probably your knees and your heels will be in alignment. And again, we want to think about splitting the body in half, so from the navel being the equator, and you're moving from your navel towards the rest of your body, is from your navel to your knees and your feet, they're drawing away. And from your navel to the head, it's drawing in the opposite direction. So then from here, you might want to just, so you don't have your feet on a block, you're not putting your feet on a bolster, and you're not rolling your mat up, your just feet are grounded, but you want to kind of feel that same sensation. Now you do want to push down through your feet, and that will begin to contract, slight contraction in the hamstrings, which then goes into the buttocks muscles, the sides, and the main gluteus maximus. And then maybe from here, just lift your right leg up. You might even want to just practice, just try to lift your heel off of the ground and just see how much work that takes to hold this for 5 breaths for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and drop that right foot back down beside the left and lower your whole spine down as 1. And then on the next inhale, lift up again, make adjustments that you need, maybe shrug your shoulder blades together. You can also bend your elbows to push down through the elbows and just lift the heel again, or maybe extend through the leg and hold that for 5 breaths for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and bend the right knee and lower back down. And take a breath here. And this time inhale, lift up, lift your hips. Push down through your feet. Just draw your knees away from you, your pelvis away from you, which you'll feel a nice adjustment in your lower back as your chest draws towards you. And just lift your heel up slightly off the mat. It's a lot of work in this right leg for 5 breaths for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And lower down the left heel and lower down the back. Take a breath. Once again, push down through the feet, lift the hips, draw the hips towards the knees, draw the chest towards the head, lengthen through the spine, engage your glutes, lift the left leg, maybe straighten the leg and lift it, and hold it for 5 breaths for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And bend the left knee and lower the hips down. And just release. Extend long through the legs. Reach long in the fingertips, lengthen through the spine. Now drawing your knees in. Take a little slight roll side to side if you need it. And then just rock to the right side with your knees to your side to use your hands to lift yourself back up and come back onto your mat and come back to your hands and your knees. And from your hands and knees, we're going to lift the right foot up, so you keep the knee bent. Lift the right foot up, lift the right knee up, and do small pulses here. So 1, 2, we're going to do 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now extend through the leg 10 times. Inhale, exhale. Now inhale, extend. Exhale, draw the heel in. Extending 2, draw it in. Extending 3, draw it in. Extending 4, draw it in. Extending 5, draw it in. extending 6, draw it in, extending 7, draw it in, extending 8, draw it in, extending 9, draw it in, extending 10, draw it in, extend it, lift it higher for 5 breaths for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring the right knee beside the left and gently sit your hips back to your heels and take a breath here. And coming back to your hands and your knees, we're going to just lift the left foot up to the sky, keeping that left knee bent. Good. Flex through that left foot. And 5 pulses. So inhale, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Your breathing, lift and lower, lift and lower. So inhale, extend the leg out. And exhale, draw it in. Inhale, extend and reach 2. And exhale, draw it back in. Inhale, extend it out 3. And draw it back in. Inhale, extend it out 4. And draw it back in. Inhale, extend it out 5. And draw it back in. Inhale, extend it out 6. And draw it back in. Inhale, extend it out 7. And exhale, draw it in. Inhale, extend it out 8. And exhale, draw it in. Inhale, extend it out 9. And draw it back in. Inhale, extend it out 10. And draw it back in. Inhale, extend it out 11. And small lifts for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bend the knee to the right. And shift your hips back to your heels. And just take a breath in child's pose. Breathe deeply. And gently roll over to your hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. And just notice how you feel on this down dog. Gaze all the way to your navel. And then gazing through your hands, gently walk your feet to your hands. Step your feet out hip distance or wider. Soften through your knees, bend your knees. Tee your arms out from the shoulders. Reach your hands back behind you, interlace and bind with your hands. Maybe begin to straighten through the arms as you let your hands lift up and over your shoulders, up and over your head. Let your head hang heavy. Take a breath here. And gently take your hands back behind you. Release the bind. And let your hands just dangle. Let them just hang for a breath here. And gently trace your hands up the front of the legs. Keep your chin drawn in so the head is last to lift. And shrug your shoulders up and back a few times. And then from Samastitihi, we're going to move into a warrior pose. So taking a big step out to about 5 feet distance from foot to foot. Face both feet towards the long edge of your mat. So a nice long stance. Your wrist and your ankles are about the same distance. Now pivot on your left heel so your left toes are facing the front of the mat. Good. And just see if you can, when you bend into this left knee, push into the back heel and engage your buttocks muscles. So engage your quad, your buttocks, which will then actually engage into your hamstrings, which will then lengthen through your quads. And gaze out in through your left fingertips and take 5 breaths here. So engaging your abs, engaging your glutes, steadying down equally through your feet. Take 3 more breaths. Now just straighten that left leg. So we're going to do that one more time. So before you go into bending the knee, try to engage your glutes. Then bend into this left knee, keeping your glutes engaged. Engage your bandhas, Uddiyana Bandha. Gaze out over through the left fingertips. Keep your chest opening and your fingers spreading wide. Keep bearing down through your feet to keep that engagement in the glutes. And take 3 more breaths for 1, 2, 3. And just release that left leg and take your feet parallel. Release your arms. Take a breath here. Pivoting on the right heel, so the right toes are pointing to the back of the mat. Engage your glutes, so squeeze them up and in. Engage your abs. Then put a bend into the right knee, keeping your feet grounding down, maybe isometrically pulling your heels towards one another will help you keep that engagement in your glutes as you gaze to your right fingertips for 3 more breaths for 1, 2, 3. Now straighten the right leg. You can either keep the arms lifted. We're going to do one more time. 5 breaths. So engage, contract, and deepen, and breathe for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now straighten that right leg and release your hands and take your feet parallel to one another. Good. So toe heel your feet together. Good. And come back to facing at the front of your mat. So on the next inhale, you're going to bend your knees and reach your arms up and just sit in your chair. And then bring your hands to your heart center. So bringing your hands into Anjali Mudra, hands together at the heart. And just gently either lift one heel or lift both heels. And come into a low, lowering your hips as your heels are lifting. And hold this for 5, for 1. Engage your buttocks. 2, 3, 4, 5. Drop your heels down and gently straighten through the legs. Inhale, reach your arms up. Gaze up. Lift your chin. Hands back to heart center. Now engage your glutes. Really draw them up and in towards each other, gluteus medius, towards one another. Keep that as you bend your knees and you decide, maybe you will, maybe you won't lift your heels. Maybe you lift them just slightly. Keep engaging through the buttocks for 5, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower the heels, gently straighten through the legs, reach the arms up, gaze up, and look up to your hands. Come back to standing at Samasthiti. Now stepping your right foot back and keeping the back heel lifted, soften and bend through this back leg, back the right knee. The front knee is bent, the back knee is bent, and just drop the back knee down and just hover. Engage your glutes. Your hands can be to your heart, or your arms can be reaching up as you breathe here for 5, for 1. Engage 2. So contract your glutes. 3, 4, 5. Now bring your hands to your heart and just straighten the back leg. Just release. So we're going to do that one more time on the right side. So inhale, reach the arms up, bend and drop the back knee for 5. Engage your glutes for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hands to the heart and just extend the back heel back and down. Now gazing forward, step the right foot forward and step the left leg back and keep the back heel lifted. So ground equally through your feet and engage this. Mostly you're going to feel it in this left buttocks muscle engaging, hardening. Now inhale, you can keep your hands to your heart or reach your arms up and soften that left knee down towards the ground, but keep your glutes engaged for 1. This is 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now straighten the back leg. Maybe release the arms for a moment. Take a breath. And then inhale. Reach your arms up, engaging your glutes. Bend through that back knee. Stay engaged. Hug it in for 5, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Straighten through that back leg. Reach your hands forward and take your hands down. Step the front foot up and back into that 3-legged dog and push through the heel. Square your hips. 5 breaths. 1, 2. Engage your abs. Engage your buttocks. 3, 4, 5. Drop the right foot beside the left. Kick out through the left heel for 5. Engage. Contract. Push away. Pull in. Extend out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Drop the left foot beside the right and come to your hands and knees. So from your hands and knees, keeping your knees together, your shins together, round into your back, mad cat. Drop your hips back to your heels in Balasana. Reach your hands back towards your heels and create a rounding, an egg formation. Just stretching this out. And then coming back to your hands and knees, cross at your ankles. Extend your legs out and then bringing your heels together. So you're going to bring your heels together, bend your knees, and just lay down onto your back. With your heels together and your legs opening out, your knees opening out and extending through your arms. So your heels are together, your toes are apart, your knees are falling out to the side. Now I want you to push into your heels and engage your glutes and hold this for 5. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just release your buttocks. Now drawing your knees in, good, rolling side to side on your sacrum. And lower your feet down to the ground. Now crossing your right shin over your left knee, you're going to start by weaving your hands through your left leg, or for some they like to take it to the front of the knee as you inhale, lift up, or you can take your hands and draw into your hamstring as your right leg is opening, so your hip stretching and you're also releasing your glutes here, and you're lifting up for 5 breaths. For 1, 2, you can straighten that left leg if you'd like. You're using your abs. 3, 4, 5, and just lower your head down and bend your left knee, and then cross the right leg and cross and hook the left shin over the right leg. And you can stay here with your head down, just working through your hips, or you can engage your abdominal muscles by drawing them in before you lift up. And take 5 breaths here, encouraging this left knee to work away and open up the hip. Maybe lifting the right leg, lifting up to it for 5. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lowering the head first, bending and lowering the right foot, and then crossing the left leg, and just extending both legs up to the sky. Maybe reaching your arms up, maybe bending through your elbows and pushing your elbows down as you continue to reach up through your toes, reach through the balls of the feet. Take a few breaths here. And then bending the knees and crossing the right shin again over the left knee, taking your hands down by your hips or keeping your elbows bent. And then just gently inhale, lift up your hips. So lift up your hips and either keeping your right shin crossed over your left leg or extend the right leg up, either using your elbows to draw your shoulder blades together to keep your hips lifted and engage your buttocks muscle, especially this left buttocks. Tighten it for 5 breaths. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just lower down your back. Keep the leg lifted or keep the shin over that left leg, just hooking it, making that figure 4, maybe flexing that right foot. And then inhale again. Lift the hips up, stay there, or continue to raise the right leg up and hold this. Engage your glutes for 5. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cross the shin, lower the hips. And cross the right leg, cross the left over the right. Engage, contract, and inhale, lift up. Either pushing down through your elbows or just letting your Palms ground down gently, lifting the left leg if you choose for 5 breaths for 1. Push into the right heel to engage your glute. 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower it down, lifting back up with the inhale. Extending the leg for 5 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower down. Good. Bend that left knee, lower the left foot down, and gently draw your knees into your chest and just roll side to side. Bending your knees, lifting your hips. Now extending your right leg forward and down so the heel is grounded. Engage your buttocks and then lift the right leg up on the inhale and exhale, lower it back down to the ground. Straight leg. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. 2 more. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. 1 more. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Bend the right knee, lift both hips up. Hold it for 2 breaths for 1. And 2. Now extending through the left leg, the foot is grounded, and then inhale, lift the left leg up, engage buttocks, engage your abs, and exhale, lower. Inhale, lengthen, lift, exhale, lower, touch. Inhale, lift, exhale, tap it down, 2 more. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower, tap. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower, tap, bend the knee, lift both hips up for 2 breaths for 1. Engage buttocks. 2. And lower the spine down. Good, now extend long from fingertips to toes. Now inhale. And exhale, hug the right knee in and ground down through your lower back. And this time just release through your buttocks. Just draw it in. Now cross the right knee to the left. And either take the knee all the way to the ground, in which case your hip and your probably shoulder blades are lifting, or you can keep your shoulder blades grounded with this twist as well. And take 2 breaths here. 1 more breath. Coming back to center. Draw the knee in and release the leg out. Now hug the left knee in. So really reach in both directions. And then ground down. And cross the left knee to the right, either keeping your shoulder blades grounded with the twist, or continue to bring the knee all the way over, going into a deeper twist into your lower back, and breathing wherever you'd like to be for 2 breaths for 1. 2. And gently coming back to center, drawing that knee in, maybe lifting that leg up again. And lift the right leg up and bend your knees. And take your knees to your inner arms, your inner armpits, and just roll again on your sacrum, side to side, keeping your lower abs engaged, your bund is engaged here. And then as you release, you're in a happy baby. So let's stay in happy baby for about 5 breaths. I'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then lifting your legs up to the sky, open your legs out nice and wide and reach through the heels. So really extend through the heels. If you want to keep your hands on your toes, you can. Just reaching through your heels. And then gently begin to cross your legs and really hug that cross. So really hug your inner thighs together and then inhale, open out and reach through the heels. And exhale, cross and really hug in. And then inhale, open. We'll do this 5 times. And exhale, cross. And inhale, open. And exhale, cross. That's 2. And inhale, open. And exhale, 3. Inhale, open. And exhale, 4. Inhale, open. And exhale, 5. And just bend your knees, lower your feet down, and come into Shavasana, laying on your back on your mat. If you have a bolster that you want to put under your knees or under your back, any little form of relaxation that you can find. For some, they like putting a block under their chest even. Taking your palms up. So if you were to put a block underneath your shoulders, behind your chest. In which case you would need another block for your head. This is another option. And just open up and rest into this space. And taking a deep inhale. And exhale through the mouth. And no longer controlling your breath, allow it to just move freely through your body. Maybe one hand on the heart and one on the belly. And then scanning from your head to your toes. Feeling your eyes gently closed. Feeling your eye sockets dropping deep into their eye socket, the eyeballs into the eye sockets. Relaxing your jaw, releasing your tongue. Allowing your shoulders to soften as they drop back towards your mat. Allowing your rib cage to drop back and down. Let your navel drop back and down as your hips open up and the thighs open and the knees, letting each inner thigh just roll out to the side all the way down to your heels, your calves open, your toes. And just feeling the body from the feet to the head. Asking your body to release and to surrender, reset, regroup. See if the mind can be clear and steady. Any thoughts that come in, allow them to move on. Maybe noticing the thoughts but not holding on to them, just letting them come in and move on. Like a wave. Beach, changing the formations of the sand, and then moving back out into the ocean, just repeating as though each wave is the beat of the heart, just connecting with the earth. Namaste. Namaste.